Hi everyone, quick sound check please. People can hear me now? Yes, thank you so much. So, hello everyone and welcome. This is Angelina and I would like to say a big, very warm welcome and thank you for joining us today for the Smada World webinar opportunity offered by Next Level Africa. We have a few more bits and pieces of information to pass on to you, read the exchanges. Although overall this will be a general overview of where we're at with NLA and the upgrades, etc. As usual, we'll be having the Q&A at the end. You're welcome to ask questions covering all of our topics that we cover today. Just remember though, hold all your questions until the actual Q&A time. Thanks. So, thanks to everyone joining us from the various parts of the world. Let me see. Oh, okay. I saw comments coming in there. We've got so many people coming from, obviously we've got Australia, the US, Canada. We've got people from South Africa, the Netherlands, Spain, France, the UK. Everyone, thank you. Welcome. Me great pleasure to introduce you to our presenter for today, Mr. Noel Adams, the founder of Next Level Africa and our CEO and leader of... Welcome, Noel.
Thanks, Angelina, and welcome everybody to the webinar. Out here in Australia, we've got winter here at the moment, so winter doesn't always agree with me, getting up to 6 degrees this morning. I know that's not cold in some parts of the world, but for us here in Sydney it is. Anyway, all right, look, I'll get straight to it so that we can cover as much of this as possible out there. There's been some support tickets going into CEX, whatever that they're about, generally to do with funds arriving and other things out there and login issues and stuff like that. The bank have been in touch with me to tell me that these tickets are going in and people aren't putting enough information on there, especially their username, so they don't, someone will put because they might be doing it from their own site where they've logged in and just assume people know who they are when they put a support ticket in from there. Things like have my funds arrived. So anybody putting a support ticket in, just put as much information as you can on there because they will be looked at, and we are getting that in place at the moment. There's just so much going on of getting it all together. Many departments are working on things with bringing the exchange together. So, you know, there's just so much going on there with it. One other thing I'd like to bring up as well, and that's to do with the general operations of Next Level Africa, the Smada World Group. Out there, I mean, a lot of people don't necessarily understand it. In some parts of it, I don't understand it myself. It's come together. It's arrived on my desk at different times, and we've had to make the whole thing fit in over the last 4 years with it. We've had changes out there, but one of the things that does stand out is that, look, my background in business, I've been involved in many businesses out there, and one in particular, if you like, I'll use this as an example. I did own one of the largest jukebox party hire companies in Sydney. We put together over 30,000 functions in the way of birthdays, engagements, weddings. So when it comes to music, I'm into things like hip-hop, funk, Euro, high-energy, house, commercial pop, all sorts of different types of music. So if you hear me go off on a tangent, it's because I had so many years experience with it. So in saying that, just let me point out that when you do a function, people who like the function don't necessarily tell you too much about it. So you can do 100 functions out there, and most of them you won't hear too much about it. but then there's one that maybe goes south, that you hear about it and someone does some complaining and away they go. So you do make note of that, because you want to make sure that you are able to rectify if there is something to rectify there. It can be, look, I've had functions where we put functions together and had the people complain about the function, about the music choice that went onto a machine, and from that same function we've taken 3 or 4 jobs from the function, so someone liked it there. So you've got to analyse. Sometimes it's just an individual out there. And the reason I'm bringing this up to point it out is because when you put together a team, and I've put together, I believe, one of the best possible teams that we could have in running Next Level Africa. Now, my personal assistant in doing this is Angelina. Angelina works in very closely with the admin team in Karen and Julie, and they work extremely well. And remember that Angelina has been with us now for over 4 years, so she probably knows as much, if not more, about the internal running on certain components of it than I do. And so it's an area out there that I've given her a free hand to be able to make decisions, because she's capable of doing that. But every now and again that something will happen where someone is not quite happy with the way the whole thing's coming together, and they may have a bit to say about it, and we do analyse that out there. But it's impossible to have 100% of everybody agreeing with how you want to do something, because we look at doing something for the masses in Next Level Africa. It's an area out there that you have to look at the overall and try and get the masses fixed up rather than individuals. So sometimes looking at intricate detail out there can be a little bit of a challenge, trying to fit every component of it into every member. So it's trying to fit it into the masses. So the bottom line I'm trying to bring out here with this, that we've had some members that have had, mind you, many members have come to me personally and really mentioned how well they are looked after with our admin, because I believe that we do offer a really incredible support network out there, because we do it in many ways with our wallets and things like that, where we have support groups, and Karen is a specialist in that, getting into to help people technically with finding their wallet backup files and just downloading their wallets. And this is not something that's generally done, because it's just, you know, a lot of programs out there, you can use cryptocurrency, but you don't have a team and network of people wanting to help do that. So we might get people putting just things out there that they're not entirely happy about. There could be personality clashes out there. I mean, I have that myself. I try to you know, go beyond that and just try to work it without thinking about whether we like each other or not out there. So it's always a delicate thing to work with. But let me tell you this, that I have got full support behind our entire admin group out there. I don't believe we could get a better group, and then people also working with that group that are not necessarily tied up with admin, but just simply work in, and some of these people work in with huge numbers in their group that we have to balance out there. So the reason behind all of this is because I want everyone to be respectful for the job that our admin, headed up by Angelina, is doing, because it's freed me up to do some of the, every part of this is an important part of what we do, working with our alliance partners and particularly with the bank out there. But sometimes I can be on calls for hours and hours just simply waiting for results to come through and checking on things out there. Just it can be time consuming, and so I try to deal with that component of it, because where I look at myself is working on the business, not in the business, and that's why it's important that people understand the job that our admin are doing out there. So I guess I want to take this opportunity again to particularly thank Angelina, Karen and Julie there for the job that they do in admin, and I mean the recordings, I don't have to even bother with those because Karen looks after all of that, and so we wake up usually tomorrow morning and with the recording finished out there, and so it's loaded into YouTube, and some of them have resulted with the recordings we're doing in people being able to half explain Next Level Africa. It's a hard one to explain all the time out there because of the enormity of what we're dealing with, but nevertheless they're working out there. So look, please bear in mind that the detail that our admin go through on trying to bring this together. They're trying to work in with everybody out there, and I believe that they're doing an incredibly good job. So once again, I just wanted to bring that up out there. You're not going to make 100% of people happy all the time, as I mentioned before with my jukebox business, but nevertheless we were running it for that long that we were doing people's 18th birthdays, and then from that 21st, and their engagements and weddings and things like that. So it's an area out there that you do get to, dealing with the public, you do get to understand just where they are with it. So anyway, look, I'll move on from that, but that's just something I just needed to bring up, that I would like people to respect our admin, and I really leave it with Angelina to make calls and make decisions on things. And you know, if anybody puts negative stuff out there about our admin, they're also really putting negative stuff out there about me. They're putting negative stuff out there about NLA. So they really need to be very careful about just what they're putting out there, because it affects all of us. We are all attached, and we're one community. So, you know, as I said, just respect what we've got going out there, because it is rather special, and it's me that knows the work that these ladies are doing in admin. So I certainly appreciate what they do. All right, moving on, just a quick one on BCN and UPB. BCN, they are talking about the last updates they had there. They are talking at the end of June that they will have a lot of their mining facilities in place and their new website. So as I mentioned before, that they're not fixing a lot of the issues they have in the old website. They're releasing their new one. So we're just waiting to see what they finish up with that, because we do have some promos we want to go into with BCN. I believe it's a good concept out there in the way of what we've got happening with the mining of cryptocurrencies, because anything that's mined, the only way you can get it is if you're attached to the mining aspect of it. Whereas if you are just attached to something like Bitcoin, if you're buying to hold, look at Bitcoin, it was $20,000 it hit there last December, I believe, and now it's bordering around the $6,000 mark. Well, if you're mining, you're not affected as anywhere near as much as if you're just buying to hold your coin out there. So we believe that the Bitcoin network is going to be something that we want to go further with, because we are trying to educate our members on the the wonders of cryptocurrency. There's a lot of it coming out now, and we can see if it's used correctly. And as I said, with ours, I decided to go with the staking aspect of it, so that members could staking is virtually the same as mining, only you're doing it on your own computer, not having to have huge mining facilities to do it. So so anyway, we're just waiting for BCN to really come together, because I don't want to be dealing with BCN with them not totally up to speed, and also dealing with what we're dealing with Next Level Africa. So UPB, look, from what I gather, I haven't heard in the last day or two, but they've done all their checking with it, so they're now loading some test groups into UPB, and we should receive notification any minute for a launch period. They're wanting to hold a meeting with our admin and myself, just to go over what they're wanting to do. As you may have heard me mention, they're going to be using the NLA coin as their payment processing system, so they'll be accepting coin, and they'll pay out in either coin or cash. So so members will be able to accumulate coin within UPB and its appreciation on its value. All right, now the line 6. Look, some of this, because of what's going on with the exchanges and things that are happening out, everything's connected. Remember that our exchanges are connected to Next Level Africa. The bank have access to everything that we do there, so we are trying to get things sorted out. The last that we had there, look, we had 52 accounts that weren't, and they promised me that they were going to be doing those accounts, weren't paid on line 5. So I'm going in today to actually do something on those, because we want to try and get line 6 on the move. There's a lot of promotional positions that we'll be putting in there, so we want to make sure that that all gets completed. But we are working with it and trying to get that in place. The other thing as well is that when we had the as I mentioned there last week, to do with the deposit, they had an issue with trying to deposit the 2.8 billion in one lump sum, so it had to be done in bits and pieces with it. There was 30 million here, there was 150 million there, so eventually they've managed to get it all in. Now there's they are working on it. In fact, look, you may have heard me talk about Timothy. Timothy is the head of the project, manager of the exchange, and he looks after the entire bank interest. He has a rather huge department that look after all of that, because they're dealing with some pretty serious dollars in what they do there. So with his department, we're just waiting on them. And of course the appointed person by the bank over in the States that assisted the investor group to get their funds in, and those funds have arrived. They're just waiting on another department within the bank to sign off on that, which I believe has been completed. Now they are going to be contacting me the moment the first transaction is going to take place, and that's going to happen very, very soon with a transaction there. What happened is that London, they have an issue with something that's going on with the exchange, and it's too long to explain, but we are busy with that now. So that's just another little programming issue that we need to, I mean, there's just so many components to this that everything has to be right with it. But the main thing is, I'm trying to say, is that that the funds, the $2.8 billion is there now, and you will start to see trading on that very, very shortly. I'm talking to them on a daily basis with that, but they haven't quite completed it yet, so once that's completed we'll have the result on that. Look, it looks like that's the main interest there. Another major thing out there, and I do want to thank a couple of people for this, and that's in the way of Maxine and Ray and Lou. Lou looks after the Smada World website. Now, all the various presentations after this webinar will be in the Smada World website. I might just look to see what it would be under. Yeah, okay, so it'll be under the user guide in the Smada World website. So you'll see a lot of the work that particularly Maxine and Ray have been involved with, and of course Lou. These people have done an incredible job, and I think that we all need to congratulate them on what they've completed there. So, and it's not necessarily completed, because one of the issues we're dealing with now that they've tried to go over, and that's the comp plan and how the matrix works. So I'm having a revisit on that, because when I set it up 4 years ago, what you're dealing with is something that happens 4 years ago. It needs to be tweaked, particularly now 4 years down the track. There's a few things that have happened, a few things we want to add in there, and I won't go into it now, but we are going to put the comp plan under the microscope and revisit what we have out there, and in order to make it better. You know, we want to make sure that members get the maximum out of our comp plan, because we believe we can tweak it a little bit more to make it rather interesting. And as I said, I've always liked to have something out there. I mean, I always like something a bit different. You may have heard me mention before about my jukebox hire business. I wanted something different, because I go back in the days of vinyl records, and in a jukebox you have, let's say, 100 records in a jukebox, which would be considered 200 selection, because you have records with A and B side. I decided I wanted to make mine a little bit better, so I decided to glue records together. It's, you know, I just start gluing some pretty rare records together. So what I was then offering was a double A side jukebox, so not 200 selections with 100 A and 100 B sides. We had 200 A side records on a jukebox. So there was nobody that could compete with me. Nobody wanted to touch it out there. So we certainly had a lot of interest going from that. So as you can appreciate, I've just always tried to get the edge out there and have something a bit special that's very hard to follow. And I don't believe anybody can follow where Next Level Africa are gone at the moment. That are going to have to find a bank that's wanting to put in billions of dollars to support what they're doing, and I don't believe anyone will do that. Not in our line anyway. So with our humanitarian projects that we've got going, so at any moment now I'm getting the clearance to once we get this line 6 and we get some more projects in there, getting the clearance to go to the States, where we will have the $100 billion a year allocated to us that we'll be handing out to our humanitarian projects out there. So there's going to be very few companies, particularly in the crowdfunding arena, that will have anything backing anything like that. It's rather special, and I do appreciate where the banks are. They've certainly come our way with getting this whole humanitarian project up and running. So when they do their press releases on it, and they've got their websites going there. There's still a few issues with the Jingling wallet that they're working on now. It's not quite syncing, so the techs are working on that now, but they've got so many other things that they're trying to do that it's not necessarily easy to just simply to do that. So anyway, we'll see what they finish up with towards the end of this week. As they start signing off on things out there, we should start seeing, you know, some activity happening and being able to move forward with it. All right, but look, that's mainly where I am with what's going on, and with the likes of the exchanges and things like that. I'll move on now to the promo that we've got going, because we have, just to make sure that people do understand the promo, we've allowed this to happen so that our members can get positions in Next Level Africa, because a lot of people wanted to sign up with further positions for themselves and family and friends, so we allowed the members to do this through a spreadsheet, and then we had it on 50 out there, and we dropped it down to 10, but people can take more than that if they wish. But look, we are getting close to closing point on this now, because we've got a lot of people coming in where they really don't know anything about Next Level Africa, and so the strain it's putting on us having to deal with that is getting quite, you know, quite involved. So we want to make sure that we're able to do other things, because we've literally had absolutely thousands and thousands of accounts that have been taken up. And as I mentioned before with this, that when you see the outcome of this going into the matrix, there will absolutely be millions of dollars that will be distributed through the matrix, probably in excess of $10 million. And we now have major groups wanting to join. We're holding them back because we can't do these people with a spreadsheet. It's just too involved, and so they'll have to wait until we open it up again for people to sign up into. So there is quite a bit happening. You may not see it out there, but there's quite a bit happening in the way of sign-ups. And the reason that I think this is so exciting is that people haven't lost faith in Next Level Africa, and we do have a lot of people that don't understand it, that might have something to say about it, but they're people that really haven't been there for the long haul with where we're at. And notice some people pasting in the rooms of where we were 4 years ago with our asset account sitting at $100 million and our coin being worth $1. Now the coin is sitting at the market maker's value at $141, and our asset account at just a whisker over $10 billion. So we've come a long way out there, and as I said, that the bank are totally behind this. And you can appreciate that we've had this running out there for over 3 years with our own coin, and the bank have lots and lots of people contacting them, questioning what's going on, because it just sounds too unbelievable out there. So the bank have had lots of that, but as you can see, the site's still running out there because the bank are totally behind us in what we're doing. Okay, just the running into the promotional stuff, and as I said, we're getting close to closing this up, so this could be the last week that we do run it. Now, as I mentioned before, that we were going to be finishing the NLA coin. It's like a lot of things out there, because of what's been going on, you can't factor in. I mean, our development team had to go to London to get a lot of things sorted out. They then had to go from London to Hong Kong to work with another technical team over there to get things sorted out. And as you well aware that the exchange, particularly GX, became live again, and a few other things have happened in there. And one of those trips was also to deal with the investment group, which has been brought to us by the bank, because this group sees the NLA coin as a better investment now, because when we started off, we were 10% of the value of our Chingaling coin. I mean, that's all I can rate it on, because we both started together with it. And then now, on the last valuation by the market maker, we are now 30%. So the NLA coin has done a lot better than the Chingaling, and will continue to do a lot better. I certainly believe that. So I mentioned by the end of June that we would finish the dollar coin. Now we're going to have to extend that, but as I said, I wouldn't worry too much about it, because the investment group will certainly snap up. That's the only reason our coin is being played around with, people dumping coin on there. You can't. You're going to find that with a coin, the reason, it's all to do with supply and demand. If there are many people looking to buy coin and there's not much about, you'll see the price come up. If there's many people wanting to sell it, you'll see the price come down. So that's just simply supply and demand. We can't tell people what to sell their coins at. I mean, you, meaning you as everybody, owns their own coin. You can sell for what you like. There's a guide by the market maker, but the market maker is like the recommended retail price that we have when we go into a supermarket or a store, that it might have recommended retail price is this, and this is what we sell it for. Generally it's cheaper. But in the supply and demand market, particularly to do with crypto, and it's generally that it can be above. Bitcoin's always been that. Whatever the price of Bitcoin is set by the market maker out there, it's always been sold a little bit more. But who knows, now there are people wanting to dump their Bitcoin. That's why it's fluctuating, sitting around that $6,000, up and down from that. But ours doesn't have that out there. We are certainly, and we are ready now, probably next week, for another increase, and with the purchase from the investment group, there might be a very large, substantial increase in the NLA coin. So we'll be assessing the dollar coin. We'll try to give you a better indication on when we'll be ceasing the dollar coin. But as I said, it shouldn't matter now that we've got this investment group coming in to purchase the coin. We're making this special offer to our members and guests, so purchase 50 plus positions in Next Level Africa at $20 US for each position. We will need a spreadsheet so that it can be loaded in by our programmer, and they will fall on line 9. The reason we are doing this is to secure the dollar coin for the upgrade. So we wanted to make sure that there was sufficient dollar coins for our members especially, and then we'll allocate a certain amount for people that are wanting to join once we open it up again. So I've put those coins aside, and put up to a million coins aside for that, so that we can cater for that out there. Now the reason that it's $20, and that's just for your position, it does not include piggybacking, is because we send the spreadsheets over to our programmer and they load them in. They do charge us for it, and so we pay for that on there. And plus there's fees because we have to purchase the coins from the bank, so consequently sending the funds over there, there's exchange rates and things like that we deal with. So that's where the $20 comes into it. But as I mentioned before, that anybody that takes those positions at $20 is a mere pittance in comparison to what can be earned from those positions. We decided to do partial positions for those that really struggle to do 50 positions. And so sending an expression of interest in for the partial positions, which would be 10 plus out there, we will link the members together and submit one CSV file. The cost on this would be $22 per position, because there's a little bit of extra work that admin have to do to bring this together. So there's just a slight costing on it. But let me tell you this, that the return on a position out there, if you wanted to look at the coin being worth $141, the return on that one position at $22 could be $4,500. So it's, you know, it's an incredible amount, and I'm really just so happy that I can offer this out there to the members. And remember that I've always said this, that there's no other company that can even go close to the promotional activity that we can put in there, because we do own Next Level Africa. We do own the coin. We run the coin in Next Level Africa, and of recent I may have mentioned to you that we have now taken over running the exchange, and I'm very open with I don't have to be with what can happen out there, but you can imagine that the exchange, with their fees on the $2.8 billion that will be traded in the exchange, the fees on that could be around the $10 million mark, and those fees come back to my company. Now those fees will find their way back to the members. Obviously we need running costs to run the exchange, but those fees will just finish up finding their way back to the members. So the members will benefit from that, whether it's just in the fact that we may purchase coins from the exchange, we may do promotions out there, but it certainly will find its way back to the members, because it's just an area that it's all attached together, and there is no other company that has that in their arsenal out there, that they own the currency, the exchange where the currency is traded, and of course the program. So once we launch this out there, as I've always said, we're a sleeping giant, and once people realize just what NLA is all about, you won't find anybody that doesn't want to be part of it. Now you can send all your expressions of interest to support@smada.world. Now this has just been set up especially for the expressions of interest for the so any other support issues, we do have another email that we use for support. So this one is purely for the expressions of interest in positions in Next Level Africa. We've had quite a few hundred people wanting to take the positions out there, so and Angelina coordinates this, so she looks after it, and I must admit she's doing an exceptionally good job of looking after it. But you'll notice there that in the chat box there that it's been posted, Angelina's put the support at smada.world, and also the reply to Next Level Africa at Gmail for our support in Next Level Africa. Just a quick one there. Since we started this webinar, or these webinars, on the 23rd of the 3rd, our coin was $62.15, asset account $4.5 billion. Here we are now, just 3 months later. The asset account has gone over double, which is $10.2 billion in our asset account, and the coin has more than doubled to $141. And I expect it to do at least that, if not more than that, over the coming months. And we have got some very big players that are just sitting on the fence and waiting for some other things to happen. But we are in an exceptionally good place at the moment, and it's all coming together. All right, look, I'm going to turn this back over to Angelina. If there's any Q&A, if I can answer them, I certainly will. And I do want to thank you very much for attending the webinar. So I'll turn it over to Angelina now to just coordinate some of the Q&A. Thank you.
Thanks, Noel. Wonderful information. We just get tighter and tighter in our ability to offer our members information about what's going on and the excitement and a little bit of the challenges as well. So now you can go ahead and type into the chat box your questions, please, so that we can have some answers to our questions. Sorry, I'm just reading a little bit here. Okay, that's terrific. We're starting to see a few questions here. Yeah, please understand that if we don't answer your question, it's probably because we just don't have an answer. Okay, so it may just be just as simple as that. Anyway, our first question here, Noel, is from Andrew, and he is asking, what is predicted day for last bank wires of the 10 plus and 50 accounts? And going on from there, there's a few more. So I'll have you come back, Noel, to take question and answers. Thank you.
Thanks, Angelina. And all right, just dealing with from Rema Support there, that how long do we predict that the 10 plus and 50 accounts will be available? Look, I can probably guarantee them for at least till mid next week because of what we've got going. But after that, I should imagine we'll be announcing next webinar that we've ceased them. So anything that's in, we'll complete it from that point. And because we're just getting a lot of response, people wanting to become part of it, and people coming back again for more out there, because I guess it's a promo that will never happen again. So we just start close. It's being monitored on a daily basis, but we will honour it for at least another week. We've got one here from Ramasita. One. I know it's great news with the 2.8 billion into CX. How does that match our current coin volume for sell orders around 5 to 6 million? What you've got to remember is that they will take, I'm not sure how high that they will be purchasing coins. It's only me guessing at it, so if I guess too high and they don't go there, I mean, I don't want people to feel that I've given them incorrect information. But let's assume that everything on the exchange is taken up at $145. I'm just using that as a guide. It could be more, it could be less, but let's say it's $145. What happens from there is that the market maker then adds coins to it. So the market maker will add the coins at the market value onto the exchange, and the investment group will buy them at that whatever price the market maker puts them in at. If they're $141.67, that's what the market maker will put them in. So you might see 20 million coins go in there, and that sale will happen once the coins on the exchange are taken up. Liesel, is line 9 full? If how close it? Look, it's almost full. That's why the promo can't go on for too much longer there as well, Liesel, because we are mindful of that, and we've got a little bit of breathing space with it, but we are mindful of that so that we don't want to go down under line 9, because we do have a very, very large group coming in that will continue and take up all of line 10. So we want the members tucked into line 9 before all of that happens. So we are monitoring that, and that's one of the reasons that the promo will cease because of that. So all I can say is anyone interested in doing the promo should do it as quickly as possible out there, because you may find that you do miss out. And so if you're interested in it, do it now, because when we close it off, we'll just tidy up whatever we've got there and we won't take any more. Marlene, is the investment group buying coins at the various prices on the CEX, or will they be buying at a fixed price? As I just mentioned before, if that answered the question for you, they'll take whatever they can on the exchange up to a certain price, not sure, and then the market maker can't release coins on the exchange until there's no coins really for sale on the exchange. So then they release them, because if the market maker kept releasing coins on the exchange, it might mean that members, because we do have 100 million coins and they're not all released yet, so once we as we move forward and there's more demand on the coins will go, which incidentally is 5 times more than Bitcoin. So and Chingaling have 50 billion coins, so they're wanting to release more of their coins as well. Okay, Marlene's asked how many coins. 100 million NLA coins we have totally. If you go into your wallet and go into stats in your wallet, and you'll see in there how many coins you had to update, and you'll see the current level of coins, because we do accumulate coins because of the staking aspect of it. I'll go into that at another time, but you'll see that we've got a look, I'm not looking at the figure on there now, but it's probably in the vicinity of where are we? 100,600,000 coins. So 600,000 has been accumulated from the staking aspect of it. So it's just like the mining, as I said before. So that comes from our fees that we pay when we transfer coins around the place. So also Maxine has just put a note in there that that some of the user guides are now available. More to come over the next week, and so finally got it together. As I said, that Maxine has been working extremely hard with this, along with Ray, and coupled up by Lou. So we've had a very nice team just bringing that together, and I must say the site is starting to look rather special out there. And as I mentioned before, that we are going to be really going over the NLA site, because what you see on there now, I know it's not the most attractive site, but it's the back end running it. We've got some fairly sophisticated stuff in there running the back end of it, but once we complete what we're doing there, we'll be going right over the NLA site, having professional graphics people involved with it to bring it up to where we want it to be. Marlene's asked, will we run out of coins? What happens from that point, when coins are sought after, that's when the price goes up. So we won't run out of coins, but anyone that has coins for sale might want to sell them at a higher price. It's the same as, it's all to do with supply and demand. When Bitcoin started really going up in value, people were looking for the coins, and that's why it went up in value, supply and demand. So that's where you'll see it. When people wanting to buy, the price goes up. When people wanting to sell, the price comes down. John's asked me, I mentioned UPB. Look, I don't really want to go into to the ins and outs, just that those people that have been involved. It's a program out there where they have quite a few products, and they're going to be adding to those products. And so I really need to give myself a refresher on it, because it started, they were going to launch it 18 months ago, and they ran into programming issues all over the place, so I won't go into that as well. So we do have some of our members that are working with them on what they're doing, but they do have quite a few products that they want to release out there, and I think that they're looking at some sort of buyers club as well. But the main feature for us is that you can accumulate NLA coins. Gary Wolf has asked, does our NLA wallet have to be unlocked in order to be staking, and does it have to be running live on our computer, or can it be closed? It needs to be unlocked to be staking, and you need it to be running on the computer, because that's the whole concept of the proof of stake and proof of works, is because that's how transactions get confirmed by computers all over the world. It confirms a transaction to make sure it's not a counterfeit transaction. So that's what members get paid for, by having their wallets open, so that transactions get verified much faster. The more wallets that are open, the faster it gets verified. Look, I think that we've pretty much tidied up all the Q&A there. So so hopefully that we've got some exceptionally good news. So look, what you might find is that before we can mention to you of what's going on, what you might find that trading has started on the exchange. So all I can say is keep an eye on it, and you might find that you see it before we do, because they're going to be notifying us, but I don't know whether they'll notify us before or after the trade. So all right, look, Alex, I know, are people already getting, sorry, it just slipped up there a bit. Are people already getting paid the compensation coins for filling in their matrix? What happens if there is no more coins to pay the compensation levels? The coins are purchased from the exchange, Alex. That's how they come in. So whatever, there won't ever be no coins out there. The price might go up, and that's good, I guess, but there won't ever be no coins out there. And if it got to the stage there was 0 coins available, we can produce more coins. We can build another wallet out there and produce more coins. So the coins are never a problem to have the coins, but I don't think we'll be dealing with any of that. Dennis, can I still get links for trading tutorials? Yeah, look, a lot of this will be going onto Smada World, so you'll see a lot of the things starting to appear on there. So, all right, look, I'm going to hand this back to Angelina. Thank you very much again, everybody, for turning up, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the next webinar, or maybe we'll call an earlier one if we see some results happen there for us. Okay, bye everybody.
Okay, thanks Noel, and thanks for all of the questions that people have been asking. And once again, please note, I have posted earlier, and I just posted again, the website for you to go and check out the new user guides that Maxine and Ray and Lou have been providing for us. Thank you so much, you guys. It's wonderful. So we are we're past the top of the hour, and as Noel said, we'll either see you next week or we'll see you earlier with an exciting webinar. Thank you so much for coming out wherever you are. Have a great day. Bye for now.